Welcome back to FastGadgets. As you know, I've been experimenting with Windows 10, and for 7 days I did exclusively use Windows 10 to do everything I would normally do in Linux or to some extent in Mac OS, even though the majority of my work I would do in Linux. So eventually I will release a video reporting everything I've discovered about Windows 10, my likes and dislikes. But for right now, I wanted to talk about a couple of articles that have come out with regards to Windows 10. And the first one is that Microsoft has decided they're going to stop requiring us to do updates on their schedule. Now, I have been using the feature that allows you to schedule when the update will occur, and that's really helped me out a lot because as a professional, there are certain periods of time during the day that I cannot have a reboot cause updates. So that's really been an effective tool for me, but it's going to get a little bit better. Now we're going to have the ability to snooze our updates, and apparently we can snooze them for up to 35 days. So you for the most part can snooze it for 35 days. Then even after that 35-day period, you can click an option that comes up daily that says remind me tomorrow, which is very much like Mac OS, and it works well for me with Mac OS. So for the most part, you will not have to do updates. I should say period, if you really don't mind the remind me tomorrow message that comes up. If you combine that with the scheduling as to when the updates are going to occur, I really think it's a pretty handy set of features that'll make things a little bit less painful when it comes to Microsoft updates. And of course, this article was on CNET, and I did get it through Flipboard. Now, this is really interesting. Not a surprise, really. If you watched my video about why users are still on Windows XP, you already know that the reason is most people are using mobile devices. Again, this article just underscores that fact. If you look, you can see that OS market share is falling steadily with Windows and increasing steadily with Android. Now, there is some iOS in there, but the two main operating systems that are competing, of course, are Android and Windows. And nowhere in there do they list Linux, which is at about 2%, which I really love Linux, so to me it's the best operating system as far as utility and features goes. But what I really find interesting, if we go all the way back to February of 2012, over 80% of the operating systems, according to global stats here, were Windows operating systems, and there's been a steady and slow decline, and we've hit what looks to be around 40 or so percent, 38.6. And Android, on the other hand, we go back to 2012, has been on a slow increase, and it's on its way to 37, 38. Pretty soon here, I think it's going to eclipse Windows 10, which, well, all of Windows, which really amazes me, and it does show that users are much less likely to buy a PC, and most people are accessing the internet using, surprisingly, Android devices. So those skill sets that I've learned on a PC that have helped me in the various positions that I've done are something that I see with students is extremely lacking. Students do not understand, and this isn't any specific age group. I have high school students, I have college students, and I have older adult students. And for the most part, I would say 60 to 70% really do not even understand how to double click a mouse, what a right click means, when you should double click, when you should right click, what File Explorer is, the difference between Internet Explorer and another browser. Just these basic skills they don't have anymore because they use their phone to access the internet, which is amazing to me. As far as consuming the internet, for me, I really don't see it as a good way to do it, but I guess each to their own. But in the working realm, you still need to have computer skills, so it's very important. This one I found really interesting, and it's actually happening to me. So if you have Windows 10, Microsoft's really pushing this OneDrive thing, which I don't really use. As you know, if you're a Windows 10 user, by default, all your documents now get saved to OneDrive, which is very funny because you only get 5 gigabytes. And I installed a video editor, and by default, all the documents got saved to OneDrive, and I immediately filled up the partition. So, it's really not that useful. Then you have the fact that within just a few minutes I was uploading 5 gigabytes. Really, these kind of things are becoming a problem because, of course, my connection is metered now with Comcast, meaning I have a 1 terabyte data cap, a maximum amount of data that I can use in a 30-day period. So I really try to keep uploads and downloads to a minimum. With a family of 5, I have had the problem where we've exceeded the 1 terabyte cap, and it wasn't very difficult. So if you get a couple of people watching Netflix, 1 or 2 people watching YouTube, downloading some games, me downloading ISOs, uploading videos and downloading videos, it becomes very easy to quickly overcome that 1 terabyte caps. What's happening in Explorer is you get this message that will come up while you're using Explorer, and it's very annoying. And there is a way to set it, but I have not set it yet. However, I did click the Not Now button, and I'm kind of curious how long it's going to take before the message comes up again. It's been about 2 days since I've seen the message, so I'm not expecting to see it soon, is my hope. I mean, technically it doesn't really bother me that much, but I did get a message about updates. And what was interesting is it reminded me that Windows 10 is a service and needs frequent updates to maintain integrity and ensure that the system works correctly. And that's basically it. Windows 10 is a service, so it's not an operating system that you buy and install and you have a minimum amount of intrusion. Now they definitely put their hooks deep into you. And it was interesting when I went down and I read some of the comments from this article. Many people were saying how they were going to go and install Linux. Having been using Linux for years and years and years, I've missed a lot of this stuff, and so I don't get to really see much about what's going on with Windows 10. And that's why I challenged myself to, even though I've used Windows 10 before, challenge myself to learn as much as I can about it, because in some respects I'm going to be supporting Windows 10. You can turn off the show sync provider notifications, and that should take care of the problem and get rid of those updates. So here's some of the comments. One person took their PC back and bought a Mac. I really don't see that it's going to be much better. I think that eventually we're going to see the same thing with Apple. Another person commented they went to Linux. And again, another about going instantly went to Mac. I love this. I instantly went to Mac. And Brendan here went to Windows 7. So, I guess that person's not playing any newer games. I really don't know. And Matt here says he cruised over to Linux. And I'm going to have a video out shortly about some Linux stuff that I've been doing lately. So I did get the Yoga 910 dual booting, and personally, I feel like KDE is the desktop for me. I'll talk more about that in another video. If you enjoyed this video, take a moment to like and subscribe. Leave a comment, negative or positive. As long as it's constructive, I'm good with it. Let me know what you thought. If you really, really liked the video, share it. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time on Fast Gadgets.